Hello, folks. Thanks for joining another episode of Sam's Device Advice. My name is Sam. Go figure. Today, we're going to be looking at Google Slides. Now, the Google Slides is one of the Google apps that I used the most in the classroom. I will admit that this was a lot of times my lesson plan because I didn't write it down on paper, so I'd map out my whole lesson in my presentation. So today, we're just going to look at the basics. We're going to be talking about how to create a new slide, how to insert items, how to add different themes, how to change your animations and transitions, and then presenting and some cool features they've included there. So let's go ahead and look at my desktop. So I've opened up my Google Chrome browser, and I'm going to make sure that if I'm on a Windows or a Mac computer that I click up here to log into my Google account, and that's going to make sure all of my extensions come with me as well. And because my bookmarks are shared and saved with me, I'm going to click on my Google Drive bookmark. You can go to the Google Slides dashboard if you want. If you open up a new tab, type in slides.google.com, it will bring you to the slides page. The reason I don't like doing this is that when you create these slides, it just adds it to your main directory in your My Drive. So it would just be added randomly down here. But I like to try to keep this as organized as I can. So instead, I'm just going to open up the folder that I want my slide to be in. I'm going to go up to the top, click New, and if you remember from our Google Docs video, you can highlight this arrow and then go over to From Template. And Google has a number of nice templates in here that you could use for lesson plans, for consultations, for proposals. So feel free to poke through here. Today we're just going to look at creating one from scratch. So again, I'm going to go into my Drive, open the folder I want, and then I'll click New, and just click Google Slides. Now you're going to find that if you're familiar with Microsoft PowerPoint, this works pretty similarly. There are some features that PowerPoint has that Slides doesn't. For one, their animations and transitions you have a lot more variation. In Google, they don't have that many added in just yet, but they might start adding them as we go. So if you look in this right column, the first thing that opens up when we have this is choosing a theme. So Google wants you to choose your style right off the bat. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Focus, because why not? I'm going to close this little window now so I can get my full screen. If in this little side window, if you click on one of your slides itself, you can go back and change the theme if you want to. So if you change your mind at some point, you can. In another video, I will talk about importing themes, and there's a really nice website that you can find some pretty useful or really attractive looking themes as well, but that's for a later video. So as always, your first slide will be your title. So I'm just going to call this Sam's test slide and spell it correctly, hopefully. And just like in Google Docs, now if I click up here in my file name, instead of Untitled Presentation, it's automatically going to take my slide's title and make that my file title. So I find that a really handy feature, and always make sure to do that. Don't leave this as an untitled presentation because you'll end up with 100 of them by the end of the year. So now to create a new slide, all I have to do to add a new one, click this plus button here. You have a drop down button that's going to let you choose from different layouts for it, but I'm just going to go ahead and click plus, and it's automatically going to select a text, like a standard slide. But again, if I click on the slide I'm customizing, I can go up to layout and choose a different style that I want. So for this one, I'm just going to have page 2 of my presentation. A very excellent title. So in here you could have your text typed in. I tend to bullet point them a lot. Try not to have too much information on there as a general tip. You can click on this overflow button and find your bulleted list if your screen is kind of blown up as large as mine is. Or I tend to use Control, Shift, and B. Nope, sorry. Control, Shift, 8. Nope, that's not it either. Control, whatever. I'm forgetting that at the moment. So let's go ahead and turn on bullets. That's going to come to me at some point. Control Shift 8. What did I do? Control Shift 8. I've turned that on for a hotkey for something. Anyways, let's forget that happened and move on, shall we? So this is going to be my text. I can add some additional words here. Now you can see this theme that I've chosen has my font fairly small. So again, you always have your font controls and change them that way. So if I wanted to animate this slide, if I want to make sure that each bullet point comes up on its own time, what I'm going to do is I have a couple ways to do this. I personally like to right click, scroll down until you find animate. Animate's going to bring up this transitions and animations window over here. So it says select object to animate. So I'll click here, and then it gives me the option to create an animation. I want it to fade in, or I can have it fade out, fly in. Let's fly in from left. And I want it to do it on click. Now, if I also want these to come in one at a time, I don't want them all coming in at once, I'm going to click this box that says by paragraph. And then if I scroll down, you can add in more. So let's get rid of this one. I didn't need that second one. And now if I click play, it's going to show me my transitions in practice. So every time I click, my next bullet point comes up. Okay, so that's adding transitions. I can close my little transition window. So now I want to add some images to this slide. So you have your quick boxes up here that I could add an image, a shape, a line. And if you go up to insert, you're going to see quite a few more options. Now, one thing I'll note here while we're looking at this, there is no insert audio. So in Microsoft PowerPoint, you can insert a little MP3 file and it'll start playing as soon as the slide opens. The closest that Google has is adding a video, and it will actually add a YouTube link. So you can insert a YouTube video with a song and then have that play automatically, but it's not as convenient. So if you need music, that's something that you're not going to get on here. So the first thing, let's insert a picture. So I'm going to go to insert and then images. You have the same options that we had in Google Docs. You have upload from your computer. You can search the web. And then if you have items in your Google Drive or photos, you can do that. You can add them by URL. So if you have the link to the picture. And as a tip, if you have an animated GIF or GIF, however you want to say it, I'm a GIF guy, you need to use the URL to make that animation play. But I'm just going to search from the web. So it's going to open up our little search window over here. I'm going to look for a tiger. And I'm going to click and drag my tiger picture over into my slide. So I can close my image here. Now I'm going to shrink this down to make sure it fits. And you can see as I move this around, Google shows me a line telling me if it's lined up with different areas. So right now it's lining up with the center of my page. If I bring it down, it's telling me it's at the top of this text box. So you can play around with that and really get some help with where you want it to be organized. I showed this in the Google Docs video, but really quickly, if you want to crop some of these pictures right in here, all you have to do is double click on the picture and you get these cropping handles that you could then drag to change the actual size of the picture itself. So crop out areas you don't want and then hit enter when you're done. So then you have a cropped picture and you didn't have to open up another app. Again, if I wanted to animate this guy, I would right click, find animate. And then now, underneath my first one, which is fly in from left, I'm going to have my tiger fly in from the bottom. And if I click play, it's going to go through my animations again. So I have my text flying in, and then my tiger should fly in from the bottom. So nothing too fancy, but it does the job. Okay, so now I have this slide. It's looking beautiful with my nonsense words and my tiger. But I need more. So I'm going to click on my plus. And this time I'm going to choose my layout before I start it. And I'm just going to do title only. So on this one, I am going to make my title page 3 because I'm super creative. And then we're going to go to insert. And this time we're going to try to insert a, you can do chart, but I'm going to do diagram. So if you're familiar with Smart Art from Microsoft PowerPoint, this is very similar. So you have these different styles of diagrams you could use. So we have timelines and hierarchies, process. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a hierarchy. And it lets you choose how many levels of the hierarchy you need. Lets you customize your colors if you want to. And I'm going to choose this one because why not? So it automatically sizes it for your page. Again, I'm going to X out of this so I have more room. And then you could go ahead and start inserting the different names or titles, or if you're doing Shakespearean family tree, fill your boots, whatever you'd like to do there. All right, so another slide, I'm going to show you how to insert the videos. So if you go to insert and then video, if you have your video's website address, the URL, you can post it here. If you have a video shared or saved in your Google Drive, you can use one of those. But you can actually just do a quick Google search. So if I want to do another crash course history video, I can include that in my slide. And let's choose French Revolution. Click select. And now it's going to insert it onto my page. So if you wanted this to go full screen, you could drag this out to make it full screen in this way. If you want to watch it quickly before you present it, you just have to click the
Hi,
play
my
button.
name is John Green. This is
And then again, you still have all of your same YouTube controls here. Now,
Crash
let's
Course
say
will-
this was a song that you wanted to play in the background of your video. A little trick you could do is you can shrink this video all the way down, make it really tiny, hide it in the corner. And then if you see up on the top here where it says format options, I'm going to click on this and it's going to allow me to customize my video playback. So I can say I want the video to start at a certain time or end at a certain time. And I can choose if I want the video to audio play right when I get to the slide. And I can even set it to mute the audio. So if I just want this as background images for me. So some nice extra features. And that format option works for pictures as well. It gives you a few different options, obviously. But one of the nice ones I like to use is Recolor. So you can actually change the color of the image altogether, even if you just want simple black and white. But you can change it to whatever you need. So I found this to be pretty handy at times. You have different adjustments, so if you want to make it transparent, if you want to change the brightness or contrast. So format options is something that's really handy if you need to make some changes to it. So that's kind of the basics of getting your presentation ready to go. I think I talked about it in another video, but let's say I wanted to have this picture, let's make it not transparent anymore. Okay, so see how this picture is over top of my text. And I actually want this picture to be behind the text, even though in this case it would be really ugly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my picture and I'm going to click on the option, I'm going to scroll up till I see order. Now order lets me move the items kind of like layers in front or behind each other. So if I click send to back, it's now going to put this picture all the way behind any other items that are on this page. So this becomes very handy if you're making a collage or just need to organize your information that way. Other than that, on your insert, you have word art, you can insert lines, you can add charts from a Google Sheet and put in the information that way. So you have a lot of options when it comes to that. You have your formatting, just your basic text formatting. Nothing too fancy in your slides, just adding slides or duplicating one. And under tools, you do have voice typing, so this is where you could use their dictation feature. Unfortunately, it only works for the speaker notes. So if you or a student want to dictate into this window, it makes it a little trickier. So what a lot of people will do is use their read and write toolbar, dictate into a Google Doc, and then just copy that text over. If you want to watch my other video on turning on voice typing on a Google Chromebook, that would work in here for sure. You could certainly do that. And then I do have a video talking about some add-ons, and one of them I talk about is Pear Deck, and check out that video if you're interested. So lastly, I wanted to show you how to present. Well, let me get rid of my read and write toolbar, it's kind of in my way. So if I wanted to present this, I have two options. I can go ahead and click present, and it takes over my whole screen, and now I'm presenting my slides here with my regular controls. But the one that I really like showing people is, let's say you're using two monitors. So your projector is one monitor and your desktop is another one. If you click on this drop down arrow, you have what they call presenter view. So what that does is it makes my my main screen the presentation itself, and then it gives me this little extra window that I could then drag onto my second monitor. But we're going to look at it on this monitor for now. So it gives you what's coming up next. It tells you this would be where your speaker notes would be if you had any. And if I click on this tab where it says Audience Tools, it actually allows me to poll my audience live. And what it does is if I click Start New, it's going to add that link at the top of my presentation now. So throughout every slide on my presentation, that link will stay up there. And what it does is it brings your audience to a page that lets them ask questions, and the questions they type in will pop up here. So let's do that. I'm going to go to this slide question page, and you can decide to do it under your real name or not. Hit submit, and then on that presentation slide, or that window that I'm the only one who sees, I'll get these here. Your audience will see this page, so they can actually vote whether they agree with that question, and see it'll pop higher up on your list. But on your actual presentation page, this is all that's seen. I'm sure I've made this far more confusing than it needs to be, but hopefully that makes sense. I could then decide to present the questions that get sent to me, so we could discuss it at the end of my presentation. The last thing I wanted to show you quickly with Google Slides is a new feature they added in called their live captions. So this uses their same live caption feature they have on YouTube, where it automatically tries to caption videos. So if I click on this, it's going to start captioning the presentation as I speak. Now, it's not perfect, but it's actually a pretty good substitute if you don't have a translator in the room. Unfortunately, there isn't a way to save this caption yet. It'd be really nice to use this as an actual transcript of your video or of your presentation, but they don't have that yet. But as you can see, it's actually pretty good at picking up what I'm saying and doing it pretty accurately. And I can turn that off here. So that is the extent of Google Slides. So there's a lot more features we didn't really get into, but for the most part, you now know how to create a slide, you know how to insert items and change your themes, you know how to add animations and transitions, and you saw some of the cool presentation tools that I have available to them. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, sam@samgoving.com. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this made your life a little bit easier, and have a great day. Cheers.